Good morning. I am Mr. Howell Bennett. I am the Academic Director of GoSchool. And today I am very, very pleased to be informing you all about your options with us, be it at Cambridge or the Pearson Edexcel Examination Board. Please understand that these are two options of many. Some students opt to do the International Baccalaureate, which is obviously a very, very fine organization itself, one that we do not offer, but it's a good alternative. There is also the Advanced Placement Program, which focuses on students who wish to study in the USA. At GoSchool, we offer an international curriculum based on two examination boards, Cambridge International, Pearson Edexcel International. Both of these boards originate in the United Kingdom. And since I am British myself, I have full familiarity and knowledge of both systems. Indeed, I have been leading schools for a significant period of time. I've been in international education for 36, 37 years now. So please treat this presentation as being presented by someone who knows what they're talking about. Cambridge or Pearson Edexcel. In India, I'm quite aware that the Cambridge qualification has a little bit more presence, but understand, they are both equivalent examination boards. They are just the same. However, in order to make a decision regarding which board suits the student, it's best to make an informed judgment. So knowing about the features, the qualities of both, plus the possible advantages of one system over another. At GoSchool, we offer great flexibility. And for us, the most important thing is the student. The student is not just a number, but is an individual with individual needs. So we tailor what we do to suit the needs of the student. We also need to bear in mind that fundamentally, most of our teaching is conducted online, and this is also taken into account here. This is also taken into account here, okay? So let's have a look. The first thing to understand is that both of these examination boards may be referred to as through programs, which means they cater for students at all ages and all levels. As far as the Cambridge pathway is concerned, it begins with the very young, the Cambridge Early Years program, moving to the primary program, and then going up to where we come in, the Cambridge Lower Secondary program, which I will be talking about in a moment. That covers students essentially in grade 6, grades 7, and grade 8. So basically 11 to 14. The Cambridge Upper Secondary program, which is ages 14 to 16. These are the IGCSE years. And of course, where we get to the business end of things, the advanced program. This is aimed at students 16 to 18. They do their A levels with us and then apply to the universities and colleges of their choice. So yes, it's a through program. It's an excellent program. All learning opportunities are clearly signposted and documented. and official resources are available at every stage, both in hard copy and indeed in digital format. And we will see, looking at this brief infographic, that the subjects that may be selected, there are so many of them, wide-ranging subject choice, which is so important. I will be exploring these things in a moment. Pearson Edexcel does something rather similar. To be honest, we refer to the stages here by different names, but the principles are essentially the same. So, which of the boards do we choose? Let's consider. Let's have a little brief look at an overview. Both of these boards, and their logos are here, both of these boards are world-class. Both of these boards are acknowledged, recognized, and welcomed by universities and colleges throughout the whole world. That includes India. They are both viewed in an equivalent fashion. They are both equal, and indeed, whether students opt for Edexcel or Cambridge, it's entirely up to them, depending on a range of other factors which will be investigated. The bottom line with these boards is they promote and help a full range of academic and vocational skills. Education has changed. It's not just about pure memory anymore. It's about understanding. It's about getting on top of key concepts, skills, processes. And there are many skills to acquire, of course. Yes, indeed, some of them are academic, but many of them are vocational skills that enable students to be effective global citizens. Skills that will enable them to succeed at university, which we think is very, very important. We need to get our students ready for the next stage, and indeed for their wider life onwards, both in employment and indeed for personal matters too. Critical thinking comes to mind, creative problem solving, innovations. The 21st century is the century of innovation, and indeed the practical application of knowledge. Please let me reiterate again, both qualifications are universally recognized by universities and colleges worldwide. That does include India. So we do not have to worry about that. That does include India. Here is the Cambridge Lower Secondary Program. As far as GoSchool is concerned, this is our program between grade 6 and grade 8. We actually don't offer the Edexcel Lower Secondary Program. We offer the Cambridge Lower Secondary Program. The beauty of the Cambridge Lower Secondary Program is it gives schools, it gives centers complete freedom as to how they wish to deliver the courses, all right? Yes, as we can see here, there are 10 subjects to choose from. We insist on 6 subjects being selected on a mandatory basis. The subjects that we have chosen are digital literacy, English or English as a second language, mathematics, science, but also we are including the subjects of social studies because we feel that is very, very important. And indeed, including an element we refer to as well-being. Well-being is essentially teaching students a set of life skills to enable them to be more secure within themselves and to be able to deal with different situations competently and confidently. Yes, there are other elements that we don't insist on, but we can provide. Global perspectives, art and design, and a few others. All right. So that's where we are with that. It does provide a very good start for the students to move to the next stage. And indeed, the next stage is IGCSE. I am exploring Cambridge presently, and you will see here a copy of an officially endorsed Cambridge IGCSE resource. This is a mathematics textbook, one of many, many subjects. In fact, there's a wide choice of subjects available at Cambridge IGCSE, so many subjects. And actually, I have to be honest when I say Cambridge Board tends to be the default option for most international schools worldwide. Most schools will go for Cambridge as opposed to Edexcel. It is changing a little bit, but it is still primarily Cambridge. I guess because it has the name, the brand name of Cambridge, which has a certain panache about it and is perceived to open many doors. There are a range of assessment options with these IGCSE exams, written exams, of course, but also oral tests, and if required, project style work and practical elements too. Please understand that practical elements are optional, not mandatory, but they are there if we deem them important and necessary. Some students will wish to go for the Cambridge ICE program, the International Certificate of Education. Now, I need to remind you that this certificate is optional. It's not mandatory, right? People who opt for the ICE certificate need to study 7 subjects at IGCSE, but they do not have entirely a free choice, because the idea of the ICE certificate is it promotes versatility across the whole curriculum. So these subjects need to be selected from 5 IGCSE curriculum areas. 2 choices need to come from Group 1. Now, Group 1 are the languages. What we tend to say is one of the languages will probably be the language that is perceived to be the first language, and the second language is something different. Now, since English is an official language in India, and in fact, most of our students are perfectly fine in English, that could be their first language option. And some then might opt for French or Spanish or something similar. Group 2 are the humanities subjects. That's where I come in. I'm a historian. I teach history. Okay. Group 3 are the science subjects, the chemistry, the physics, the biology, and so forth. Group 4, mathematics. Group 5 tends to be the creative and vocational subjects, which would include the arts, the visual arts, and so forth, plus also vocational subjects such as business studies and so on. But so 2 from Group 1, 1 from Group 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then 1 other. Doesn't matter what the other one is. It can be from any area of the curriculum. If students opt for the ICE certificate, they are graded in a slightly different way to the regular IGCSE grades. Yes, they will get the regular IGCSE grades too for their individual courses, but they will also warrant a certification based on 3 classifications. If they get grade A or better in 5 subjects, and grade C or better in 2 subjects, they will be awarded a distinction. That's a really, really hard grade to achieve. If they get grade C or better in 5 and grade F or better in 2, they get a merit. If they get grade G or better in 7 subjects, they will get a pass. So it does allow achievement at all levels. Something else about IGCSE is this. Some of the subjects offer, not all, but some offer core or extended options. The core choice tends to be directed at those students who perhaps may have 1 or 2 challenges, right? And what will happen with those students is, by entering for the core examination, the grades that they will be able to attain have a platform, a grade C. So they will gain something between a grade C and a grade G. Extended students, and most of our students will be extended, are designed for the more academically able, and they are aimed at grades A star to E. The best thing that anyone can do is investigate all of the choices, determine which subjects offer core and extended, and see which subjects are all inclusive. That would be 1 paper across the whole board. Think about the subjects that students might possibly excel in, or they have particular passions for, or indeed would like to even think about at an early stage doing at A level, and then of course making the appropriate choices. In terms of assessment and grading, as far as the Cambridge IGCSE examination sessions go, they occur 3 times a year, thrice a year, in March, June, and November. However, at the same time, please understand that IGCSE is designed to be taught over a 2-year duration. After the initial entry has been made, students may opt to resit as and when appropriate at any of these 3 sittings. Of course, you would not enter for a particular sitting if you hadn't finished the course. Grades. Grades awarded, grades assigned use 8 internationally recognized grades, A star being the highest and G being as the lowest. And if we look at each of the curriculum, we will see the qualities expected from each grade. So that is an important thing to know too. Let's look at Pearson Edexcel IGCSE, shall we? Let me remind you, it's equivalent to Cambridge, just the same, but a few subtle differences too. The thing about Pearson Edexcel IGCSE is this. There's more of an emphasis on it being an internationally relevant syllabus, meaning that students have more opportunity to bring in knowledge from their home country, their home location, perhaps more so than Cambridge, right? It doesn't mean one is better than the other. It's just a slightly different approach. Again, there's a wide range of subject choices. And please remember that the Pearson Edexcel IGCSE is equivalent to the examinations sat by British students in Britain, and indeed are accepted worldwide. However, remember, we only offer Edexcel International GCSE. There are exams called Edexcel GCSEs, but these are only available to students based in the UK. All right. Assessment and grading, slightly different. One thing that is different about the Pearson Edexcel is this. Modules may be tested, meaning it's not just a question of having an exam at the end of a 2-year period. You can actually break it up into smaller, manageable chunks and have your exams at the end of the first year. You can still go along with the 2-year model if you so wish, but you have that option. The examination sittings are rather different with Pearson Edexcel. It's not March, November, May, June. Here it's January and June. So 2 sittings, not 3. Maybe something to think about. The way in which the examinations are graded is also slightly different. Whereas in Cambridge, we're looking at letters, A star to G. For Pearson Edexcel International, we use numbers 9 to 1, rather similar to the IB approach, if you're aware of it, all right? Just a slight difference there. So what next? Well, Pearson Edexcel is a great stepping stone for AS and A levels, and indeed IB, if students choose to go down that road. Indeed, they help prepare students for a multidisciplinary approach to education, to be versatile, to be able to master different subjects, different aspects of the curriculum. And versatility is so important, of course, in the modern world. And indeed, please let me remind you, resits are available for each of the Pearson Edexcel International modules provided. Let's now move on to the business end of things, the A levels. When students and parents, for that matter, because they have a big input with this too, of course, decide on A levels, they have many, many things to think about. They have the subjects to think about. Which subjects will they select? Maybe they will go down the road of the Indian streaming system, and that's possible. They can do that if they want, either being classified as a science student or maybe an art student and so forth. But they have free choice. They have free choice with their A levels. Even with IGCSE, there's free choice, apart from English and mathematics being, for us anyway, compulsory. At A level, completely blank canvas, completely free choice. I would suggest that students and parents meet with me, have an individual academic consultation with me, and we will try to understand the strengths of the student, the interests of the student, the possible growth areas of the student before making a final decision. It will also require careful investigation of all the curriculum documents. Also, students will need to consider the modes of assessment and think, well, how will they be assessed? That is particularly important for students wanting to study the sciences. Because if we look at the next point, practical exams. Cambridge requires all students to complete practical examinations in biology, in chemistry, and indeed in physics. And also require a certain amount of hours over the 2-year period to prepare for that. It means, in effect, that students who want to do the Cambridge Sciences need to have access to our laboratories in Nerul, Mumbai. We are affiliated to D.Y. Patil International School, which is one of the top schools in India, as we all know. And basically, if students want to do Cambridge Sciences, they need to get there frequently, not just at the end of the year, but every couple of weeks. So really, the Cambridge Sciences only suit students who live in the Mumbai area. Pearson Edexcel is different. Pearson Edexcel International does not insist on a practical examination. It does not mean that practical skills are not taught. It does not mean that practical skills are not assessed, but all of the teaching of practical skills, all of the assessment of practical skills are conducted online. So maybe that's one thing to think about there. In terms of content and syllabus, yes, there is considerable overlap, of course. If you want to look maybe at economics, for example, at Cambridge, economics at Pearson Edexcel, there are many, many similarities. But what you will also find is that there are also distinct units. Both are equivalent, both are equal. Please remember that. So how do we choose which one? How do we choose Cambridge or Pearson Edexcel? Understand your learning style. Assess your strengths and interests and try to establish which of the boards might appeal more to you. It is generally seen that Cambridge is slightly more theoretical than Pearson Edexcel. Slightly more theoretical than Pearson Edexcel, Cambridge, which is good in itself, maybe a little bit more academic possibly. Whereas Pearson Edexcel tends to be a little bit more applied. Of course, you need to look at all of the subjects that are on offer and try your best to see if those subjects are offered by that particular board. It is infinitely preferable for students to either go down the Pearson Edexcel or the Cambridge pathway, look at the subjects and make that choice. Understand the university requirements. Even from an early stage, we need to be thinking about university choices. Maybe we have a good idea of the subject we want to study. Maybe we have a good idea of the institution we want to be applying to, or the area we want to be based. Have a look at all of those things at an early stage and make an informed decision. Then we have the practical element, which I've already discussed. The sciences, Cambridge, probably better for Mumbai-based students. Out of Mumbai, Pearson Edexcel is probably a better choice. Yes, we can cater for Mumbai students who want to do Pearson Edexcel just as much as we can cater for students out of Mumbai that possibly want to do Cambridge, but there are logistical difficulties with it. I would advise, if you do not live in Mumbai, go for Pearson Edexcel as a scientist. And there are other reasons linked to that, which I will come on to in a minute. And do not think by going for Cambridge that you have a huge advantage, because Indian colleges and universities also accept Edexcel, as indeed all places do throughout the world. Here's a question that many people ask me: which board is more difficult? It depends. It depends on the subject, right? In English language, the Cambridge board is deemed to be marginally easier than Pearson Edexcel. In mathematics, the Cambridge board appears to be more difficult than Pearson Edexcel. And of course, this is all relative because different people will have different ideas on this. Generally speaking, though, I think it's fair to say that students consider CIE Cambridge board to be marginally more difficult. Why? It's a bit more theoretical. And Pearson Edexcel is a little bit more based on application of knowledge, but they are both excellent syllabuses, you know. There are some contemporary developments, to consider. This is an incredibly important slide, actually. Cambridge students, as I have said, may require regular access to the practical facilities offered by the parent school. Our parent school is D.Y. Patil International School, Nehru, Mumbai. That's science, maybe subjects, other subjects that have practical sides to them too, you know, the arts, music, and so forth. That's something to think about. If you cannot get to Nehru on a regular basis, that will limit your choices and probably end up with you going for the sensible option of Pearson Edexcel, where this is not a problem. All right. So please think about that. Cambridge also offers a March sitting in India. And I think India is the only country in the world that does this, primarily because of the Indian academic calendar, of course. But yes, it just provides us one more opportunity to sit exams. The third bullet point is crucially important. Indian colleges and universities do not accept private candidates, which means this: any student who joins us will have GoSchool affiliation. Pearson Edexcel, not a problem. You can do your exams anywhere, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But Cambridge students must do all of their exams in Nehru. Otherwise, if they go to an alternative location, they will be considered to be a private candidate, and that will mean they cannot apply to Indian colleges and universities. In other words, Cambridge students must sit their exams in the parent center. The parent center for us is D.Y. Patel International School, Nehru, Mumbai. And what a fine establishment that is. Nowhere else. Pearson Edexcel has a couple of advantages with this. Firstly, at IGCSE and as time moves on, A-level 2, students will be able to sit their examinations from the comfort of their own home through sophisticated software that Pearson Edexcel have established over the last few years to invigilate students at home in a remote fashion. That provides so many advantages. All right. But also another thing about doing exams with Pearson Edexcel is this: students have the option to sit their exams in their home city or town. They don't have to come to Nehru, Mumbai. They can do their exams wherever they are based, but still have GoSchool on their transcripts, on their qualifications. That's not an option that Cambridge can have. Finally, as I've mentioned, Pearson Edexcel also offers modular assessment, which is, to simplify this, a way of breaking up the content into more manageable chunks. I have said everything I've needed to say here. Please, here is my email at the bottom. So what I want you to do is, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email me them. Thank you very much.